Welcome to Hit the Fans. I'm Dan.
I'm Keegan.
And I'm Joe.
A show brought to you by the fans for the fans. We'll be talking about everything there is to talk about in the sci-fi and fantasy genres, including all these things. But today we're going to be talking about Green Lantern. We're sorry.
Alright guys, let's jump in with our initial reactions to the film. First, we want to welcome Keegan to the show. He's also going to be on our Softly episode this month, so look forward to that. Okay, initial reactions. Keegan, you're the Green Lantern fan. Out of all the superheroes, Green Lantern is your favorite. Take it away on this one. Spearhead it.
Well, as far as the movie goes, it was a disappointment to the majority of people that's seen it, I feel. Everyone that I've talked to, no one's really enjoyed it. And especially as a fan, reading the comic book and that kind of being, like Joe said, my favorite superhero, there were quite a few things I didn't like about the movie. The first of many things is the suit. You didn't have to give him a completely lit up CGI suit.
Wow. I know, right? Woo!
I mean, I understand that if you follow Green Lantern, his suit is actually comprised of green energy, but it's not glowing green to the point of ridiculousness. That was one big thing that I didn't
So you
like.
don't think that they needed to make it CGI? They could have actually just made a suit for
I
it?
think they could have made a suit, a regular suit, kind of. I mean, I think it would have been cool. Obviously, Man of Steel came out quite a bit later, but a suit like I like the way the Man of Steel Superman suit looked. I think if they could have did something like that, I think it would have just looked a lot better. I think that's one thing that kind of turned a lot of people off. The movie itself was going to be so heavy in it. I think they should have tried to eliminate the CGI where they could have in areas like the suit.
Okay, with that being said, what do you think, Dan?
About the suit? It's green. I thought it was I don't know why they made it all CGI. There's no reason. It's a suit.
Mm-hmm.
How many other superhero movies have they done that he wears a CGI suit? 4? I don't know. Spitballing. It's stupid. I didn't like the mask either. It looked weird because it was CGI. Like, it made him look CGI. I don't know. There's something weird about it. I don't know. There's something off-putting about it. There's no reason to make it CGI, so why?
So I think that we can all agree that the first issue, not just specifically the suit, but is the overabundance of CGI.
Yeah, the whole thing was
where
CGI.
They really didn't need to make certain parts CGI. They still did,
Yeah.
and that took away from the film.
Yeah, it's like they just did it to death. I mean, like I said, there's so much CGI in the movie, and obviously, with his ability being able to harness the green energy, willpower, and his power is, making constructs and things like that. All that has to be CGI. So, it was just done to death. I mean, it's just so much, and it just took away from it, for me at least.
From what I remember, like in one of the trailers, they show, I don't know the guy's name, the guy who gives him the ring, the one who's dying.
Abin Sur.
Abin Sur, yeah.
That guy. Pink Man. In the trailer, purple, he was like, it was an actual guy with makeup on. And then in the movie, it's a CGI guy again. I remember in the trailer, it was an actual, like, whatever the word is for real effects. It was one of those. And then
He was a real human being?
But they had like prosthetics on him to make him look
Okay.
like him, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, we'll just do CGI. And it didn't. You already had it done. Why do it in CGI?
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Do you think that maybe that was just like a proof of concept trailer or
I don't
something
know.
that
It
you
looked
saw?
better. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think one of my biggest issues, besides all the CGI, was that the CGI just wasn't that great.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Because some of my favorite movies are very heavy in CGI, but it just didn't. It was so blatantly obvious CGI.
Very cartoony.
Yeah, and it kind of took away from the movie. I think that would have added a few points to it. I probably still wouldn't have overly enjoyed it, but I think it would have made it a little bit easier of a pill to swallow if the CGI was better.
Right, definitely.
And I think maybe the story they told.
I don't remember the story.
was a little wrong.
Yeah, because I mean, you have the main bad guy. Obviously, there's Hector Hammond, which, if you've seen the movie, as Dan so eloquently put it earlier, he's the guy who pretty much has a giant ass for a head. You know, so I mean, he's a fairly, you know, he's a reoccurring character in the comic books as far as villains go, but the big giant cloud fog monster Parallax, to have him in a Green Lantern movie so early, I mean, that's a huge bad guy to have in the movie right off the bat. So I mean, it would be like if they tried to revamp the Superman series, and his first villain was Apocalypse or Doomsday. You know, from there, I mean, where do you really go up from there? You know, as far as having one, you know, unless you want to do Green Lantern Corps versus another Lantern Corps, or versus, you know, a small army of, you know, aliens that are invading the planet. You know, it's just kind of hard to, you know, you didn't really leave yourself too much room.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way I see it.
Does anybody remember the actual year that Green Lantern came out? Was it 07 or was it 08?
2011.
Was it really?
Yes.
2011?
2011.
Oh, wow, that's even later than I thought.
2010 or 2011.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
at least according to the DirecTV information that comes up when it's on.
would you have would you have been okay if it was just the asshead for a villain?
What did he do?
He got a big head.
He wanted Blake Lively to have sex with him.
Yeah, that's the.
Was she conscious?
Not according to CeeLo.
I don't. That's all I remember him wanting. He was like, "Oh, why don't you go out with me?
Well,
I got a big head now."
Yeah, that's a big thing. Even in the comic books, is he's always after Carol Ferris, who plays Carol Ferris is her name in the movie, obviously, but Hector Hammond, the asshead guy, he's always had a hard-on for lack of a better term. You know, always wanted to go out with her, always wanted, yeah, literally and figuratively.
Mm-hmm.
You know, always wanted to be with her, always despised Hal Jordan, who is Green Lantern. Always despised him because he could get any woman he wanted. So there was that feeling of disdain of, like, you could have any woman you want. You want the only woman in the world that I have.
You could have any woman in the world. Why would you want this hot blonde chick? Right?
Yeah, I mean, she had black hair, but yeah.
Was she? Did she
Blake
have black
Lively, the actress, is blonde, but the character.
Was the movie she had? I thought she had blonde hair in the movie.
I thought she had black hair.
I don't know because
I'm
I
pretty sure she had
hated
dark
that movie.
Yeah, that movie.
I don't know.
Son, we're gonna get you well again. I've never felt better in my life.
So, what was that?
So she had black hair.
So she had black hair,
Okay.
blonde hair, whatever.
She had hair.
She had hair.
No leukemia.
What does he?
for
What does he
her.
do?
Well,
in
and here's the
movie,
thing,
though,
too, though.
besides run around being like, "Please love me." Does he do anything else?
Well, he
I don't
is.
remember.
He's a scientist.
Yeah.
As far as the movie goes, he's a scientist. His dad's the senator. His dad always viewed him as a disappointment. You know, he could have, squandered his talents because he's a professor at some community college or some really low, bottom of the barrel type of school, and public school system. But anyway, so he wound up. Daddy pulled some strings for him, and after Abin Sur crashed, who was the alien who gave Hal Jordan his ring, he crash lands on Earth, and he gets the ring, and obviously the government discovers the body, and he is the initial professor. He's the authority supposedly. So he does like the autopsy, and he's there to examine the body and kind of compare and contrast that versus human anatomy, and just kind of find, more or less to find a weakness in case there was some type of invasion, and we could study them and have a better grasp on it.
Do you think that they told the wrong origin story for this movie? Or maybe not the wrong origin story, but they omitted in the minute or so we have left. Do you think? What do you think they should have added? What do you think they should have taken out?
Okay, I'll try to keep it quick. There's a lot of things, so I'm not going to get to all of them. But the first thing that I didn't like about this origin story is they made him an absolute crybaby. Oh, it's too hard to be a Green Lantern, so I'm gonna quit. That's not according to comic books and stuff like that. That's not what it was. He wasn't strong, so it was. I need to sack up. I need to be tougher. I need to fortify my willpower, and I need to prove to everyone that I can kick ass and take names. Because originally he gets, for lack of a better term, he just catches shit from everybody because they view humans as such a young race, and humans weren't ready to be admitted into the Green Lantern Corps. But so he's already facing adversity from day one.
So, this is the chosen human.
The ring turns thought into reality. Its limits are only what you can imagine.
The sword. How human.
What villains would you have preferred instead of Parallax? Which ones do you think would have better suited the origin movie?
I think two big ones that come to mind that you could actually have in the same movie are Atrocitus, which is the reason why Abin Sur, the guy that the alien that Hal Jordan gets his ring from, he was on his ship when it crashed. He's actually the reason why it crashed, and from there he gets loose on the planet, and he's causing all types of mayhem and this and that, and everyone's saying, "Oh, it's an alien, it's an alien." Obviously, the majority of the population is not going to believe it's an alien. But and then from there, Atrocitus comes into contact with another Green Lantern bad guy, which is William Hand, a.k.a. Black Hand, who's actually a really kind of messed up kind of guy, kills cats and stuff on his, Jeffrey Dahmer kind of shit. But, exactly. But, according to the origin stories, you can tie both those in, and both of those characters have big roles in later storylines, whether it's the War of Light, Blackest Night, Brightest Day, all these other storylines that they're going to build into, and you can, even if you don't do a story like that until a second or a third movie, they're there. You have a little bit of a background to them, so you can build on them while you try to maybe introduce someone else, but they're already there and you can use them, as opposed to immediately eliminating one of the major villains right off of the bat.
I was talking to you before, and maybe I was wrong on this, but I think the reason why I didn't like Parallax that much, and granted, I'm not as familiar with the knowledge as you are, so I was not aware prior to this movie of the origins of Parallax, that he's not just this floating shit blob. Where this is the same feeling that I have about Galactus in Rise of the Silver Surfer. It's like, give him give Galactus a physical form, number one. That was just stupid that he was just this big
clown.
Thing of gas and clouds. That was just stupid to me. And I kind of felt that way about Parallax, but at least with Parallax, I was like, oh, okay, cool. He has a face. Granted, the rest of them looks like Ghastly, the Pokemon. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, tell me about that. Is that true to the comic books, or does he actually have a physical form, or does he just possess different entities and take their forms and likeness?
Well, he doesn't necessarily have a physical form itself. He because Parallax itself is the manifestation of fear. That's what he's comprised up of, is yellow energy, which is the color of fear according to the emotional spectrum.
So was the blob correct, or no?
No, because if you actually look at it, it kind of looks like from Men in Black 2, the giant cockroach. I'm sorry, the first Men in Black, the giant cockroach. Kind of looks like that, but just made out of yellow energy. Okay. And granted, for movie effects, they're going to mix in the black and try to make it darker and these deeper colors. So I get it. They took a little bit of creative freedom with it, but they could have stayed a lot truer to the form. But with any movie, they're going to take liberties. So.
But anybody could have just looked at it and been like, "It looks like shit."
Yeah,
literally
exactly.
looks like shit.
Right.
Exactly.
With the head.
If they didn't,
somebody.
That looks like the shit I took today. Yeah. Except now put a face on it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, I wasn't too happy with it.
Because now, correct me if I'm wrong. The original, at least the graphic that I read, I believe, from Lantern, Parallax was the entity that they were fearing would be revived again, which is isn't that correct?
What do you mean by revived again?
Well, wasn't there when they were talking about Abensur's ring failing him and stuff because he wasn't there.
Well, that goes into the prophecy of Blackest Night itself, which is, there will be a war between the lanterns. Fear will rise, which is Parallax himself. There will be a great divide in the universe, and then the Blackest Night happens, which is followed by the brightest day. And if you want to go according to the comic books, but one other kind of pretty cool thing that Parallax does do is not in the movie, but
Of course not.
yeah, of
that'd
course
be too
not.
much to ask for.
But later on, throughout more storylines and stuff, Parallax actually winds up possessing Hal Jordan, and Hal Jordan goes on an absolute rampage, slaughtering hundreds and hundreds of Green Lanterns. Goes back to Oa, which is the Green Lantern homeworld, and kills most of the Guardians before he's finally able to the blue guys,
The Smurfs.
yeah, which they kind of made them out to be.
Smurfs.
Yeah, for lack of a better term, because I mean they're immortal, all-powerful beings.
Smurfs.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's smart. I didn't know.
All I got to worry about is Gargamel.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he just wants to eat you.
The one weakness.
And his damn cat.
Anything I see in my mind, I can create.
From the origin story that they should have done, we've talked about it. We've established how. But one thing that I noticed that I don't remember them really mentioning or talking about, and if they did, it was very fast, was Green's weakness to yellow. And I don't believe that was in the movie. If it was, I missed that part. Again, it's been a little while since all of us have watched the movie. We probably should have done
Right.
homework, but,
But it's so shit, though.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
I watched the new Godzilla instead.
that's one thing that goes along with new recruits to the Green Lantern Corps is new recruits. Their rings are completely useless against yellow. So even if I were to take a yellow number 2 pencil and stab a Green Lantern with it, the ring wouldn't work on yellow because they don't know how to overcome that fear. They don't know how to bury it and overcome it with their willpower.
So it's not the fact that it's yellow, it's the fact that yellow symbolizes fear.
It's the fact that yellow, which is fear, because it kind of does play into the emotional spectrum as well, is yellow obviously is a manifestation of fear. Green is the power of willpower, and overcome with fear, your will crumble. So it more or less makes your power useless until you know how to overcome it. Like I said, you know how to bury it, and you know how to, focus on the task at hand. And I do believe it may have been briefly touched on in the movie. I think they threw like a yellow disc at him or something, and he thought he was gonna block it, and it just broke right through and smoked him in the gut. I could be confusing it with something else, but I think it was briefly touched on. But for being such a big weakness of the Green Lanterns, it wasn't touched on enough. It should have, it deserved at least a couple of minutes to talk about.
Right. One thing I'd like to spend the last couple of minutes on is something that I know we could all talk about. How did you like some of the other supporting characters besides Hal Jordan? Not necessarily Carol Ferris. Yeah, she's hot, whatever. I could take it or leave her.
She's got blonde hair, black hair, nobody knows.
Yeah.
She's got hair.
She's got hair.
We've talked about Asshead, and we've talked about Parallax.
Who else
Question
is there?
do
What
the
about
curtains
Kilowog?
match the drapes? That's what the real question is. But a couple other of the Green Lanterns that I liked, at least, were they had Salak, which is the guy with the forearms. He's got the forearms. He's kind of like their chief administrator.
He's special because he has 4 arms.
Yeah, more or less.
He had 4 rings.
Not true.
Oh, 4 arms! I thought you meant like.
No, I mean like 1, 2, 3, 4.
I was like, oh look, yeah, it's like
4.
Most things that have arms have
Like
4 arms.
Like 2 plus another 2 arms.
So 4 arms.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
number 4.
F-O-U-R.
Oh, why didn't you say so?
Wow.
I thought I did. I mean, Dan followed it just fine.
Didn't skip a
But
beat.
I thought he was cool. He wasn't in it too much. That's kind of another thing that I didn't like was, they cut your training really short, so we didn't see too many other Green Lanterns.
What about Kilowog?
Kilowog was okay.
What about Birdfish Man?
Oh, you're talking about Tomar Ray.
Yeah, Tomar Ray.
Yeah, well, Tomar Ray is actually,
Duh.
he's pretty cool. He actually becomes one of Hal Jordan's best friends within the Green Lantern
They go out to
Corps.
get drinks and stuff.
And he's also the reason...
Heavy drinker.
Heavy drinker. Fun fact, well, actually, Tomar Ray might be a bit of an alcoholic because he's the reason Krypton was destroyed. He couldn't get to Krypton fast enough to destroy it.
What a
Or
prick!
To save it, I should say. So, Superman, if you got a bone to pick, Tomar Ray's your man.
Tomar Ray.
And, okay,
Birdfish Man.
Birdfish Man.
More or less, that's what people call him.
Finally, Sinestro.
Sinestro, I don't think they did a bad job with him, but yet again, just with there only being, not enough focus on these other lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get it. The main focus is obviously going to be Hal Jordan, but I mean, he goes to Oa for 10 minutes of in the movie. I think he's there for about 5 minutes of training. And if you stay in at the end of the trailers, the little bonus clip at the end where he gets the yellow ring. Way too early to give him the yellow ring. Mm-hmm. Absolutely way too early.
Okay.
In my opinion.
What'd you think of Sinestro, Dan? Paul Giamatti as Sinestro.
Paul Giamatti is not Sinestro.
Yeah, he is.
No, it's not.
Oh, you're right.
It's Mark Strong.
It's what's his name?
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
I am Sinestro.
I don't know. I don't know enough about Sinestro to love or hate him, so I thought he was
Yes
fine.
or no? Did you like him?
He's fine.
Okay.
Indifferent.
Different. I don't know.
Dan's too cool to have.
If I had to Joaquin it, I'd be like, I'd just stay here.
Oh, Gladiator reference.
I don't know. I think that what? I don't know. I think I like Sinestro, and I don't know. I think Richard Gere played him good. Yeah.
I mean, Sinestro is definitely a cool character in itself, especially if they do decide to do more with Green Lantern. You see his transformation from the greatest of the Green Lanterns, held in highest regard, to becoming one of the main terrors of the Green Lantern Corps.
A great light has gone out in the universe. Worlds annihilated. Lanterns, we face an unprecedented danger.
Okay, I think that we're all in agreement that Terrence Howard did good as Sinestro.
Yeah, he did a great job.
And let's talk about the new Green Lantern Flash movie that's coming out in a few years. Down the road, after the Justice League movie and stuff, would you like to see Sinestro brought back for this movie? Now, you were telling me that the Flash and Green Lantern are like really good friends. Now, would you like to see, what was his name who played Sinestro? The real guy?
Oh, it's Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, sorry.
Would you like to see...
The Rock play Sinestro again?
I would
Don't
love
be
that.
stupid. Would you like to see Arnold Schwarzenegger reprise his role as Sinestro, or...
I would.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it would be cool.
Give me the ring!
Give it now, I got the feel power!
You don't have the willpower to wield the wing.
Feel me!
But I absolutely, I think
Chill.
it would be cool if he would come back. But I mean, especially as a villain this time. Especially as a villain this time, because the thing about Sinestro is, he's not doing it he's not evil for evil's sake. He has the same goal as the Green Lanterns. He wants to bring peace to the universe.
But with fear.
But he believes that fear is a stronger entity than willpower.
So he wants to instill fear to quiet the...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like when you're a little kid and, your mom says, you ask me again, you're going to be grounded, or I'm going to smack you, or whatever. The reason why you don't do it is out of that fear.
Right.
So he kind of wants to impose like a intergalactic dictatorship, more or
Basically,
less.
he wants to be a giant space mommy.
To fight this enemy, the ring chose a human. But I don't need to tell you your duty.
Now, tell us about the friendship between Green Lantern and Flash.
Well, Green Lantern and Flash historically have always been friends. Coast City, which is where Green Lantern's from, Central City is where the Flash is from. They're pretty close to each other.
And isn't...
And they've helped each other out on smaller kind of things. Sorry, go ahead. I thought I was talking.
No, what city is Oliver Queen from? Arrow. Green Arrow.
So he is from Central City. So the Flash is from somewhere else. He's from wherever Star Labs is at.
Starlab City.
That's what I'll call it.
Starlab City.
It's from Kentucky.
Kentucky. But yeah, they've always been friends. They've all, even going back to the Golden Age, Alan Scott and I forget the name of the Golden Age. I think it's instead of Barry Allen, I think it's something
Billy
West.
Allen.
Yeah, we'll call it
Billy West.
Billie Jean.
Billy West.
Billy Jean.
Billy Jean.
Still better than
No.
Northwest.
Yeah. Kanye.
He is from Chicago. Maybe he does listen.
But but anyways, but to do a movie with the two of them so quickly, I think it's a mistake. I mean, obviously the Flash is going to have his own show, which is going to be cool and everything. But to me, Green Lantern hasn't had a successful standalone movie. So I think to bring another character into that and potentially ruin two characters in the Justice League just because you want to sneak in the Flash, just for the sake of doing it and being able to do a Justice League, I think it's the wrong move as far as the film company goes.
Do you think that and this is a question to both of you, do you think that they're adding them in the same movie because they're worried that the Flash isn't strong enough to carry a movie on his own, and that maybe they're worried that because of the failure of the previous Green Lantern, they're worried that the Green Lantern can't carry a movie on his own?
Probably because they're worried they don't have enough time. They have a lot of catch up to do. So they might as well just mash them all together and get them out. So instead of doing 2 movies, you got 1, and then you have these guys, you put them together and package them and put these ones, and now instead of making 8 movies, you've made 4 movies, and now you're caught up.
Okay, so that's your stupid answer.
I do.
You're like,
Yeah, that's a stupid answer.
To a certain degree, I do agree with Dan. Because
guys are both
you're starting to see it. Well, no, because I mean,
You already see what the
I'm just kidding
Batman
with you
movie.
guys.
exactly in the Batman vs Superman. Obviously, we have Batman and Superman. They've
Really?
already casted Aquaman.
You have Wonder
for
Woman.
It.
I think that's
Wonder
incredible
Woman's
choice.
gonna make
Would.
for the character
Of
or to
Aquaman.
have him in
He
it.
just likes Jason Momoa
And Keegan even knows this. I'm a big fan of Aquaman.
and Jason Momoa.
But I think that in that movie you're gonna have Batman, Superman, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman for sure confirmed. I think that's kind of a lot to throw in one movie.
Yeah.
But like Dan said, they're trying to play catch up and not fall so far behind the Marvel franchise.
But don't you think that maybe they're and this is true? And again, all that we're doing is speculating because we're not in the know since we got fired from DC.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But
I like those paychecks.
yeah, I mean, okay, so if they are trying to play catch up, which very well is likely that is what they're trying to do, don't you think by them rushing and playing catch up, it is gonna make them even harder
Oh my.
Yes.
to compete with Marvel?
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why, like, if you guys watch our Softly episode that coincides with this
Don't watch it.
video, that's why I was saying, like, I think that they should take the carbon copy of what Marvel is doing and do.
They don't want to take the time, though. That's the
Right?
problem.
No, I totally
Exactly.
understand that, and
They
I
just
think
want
that
money.
that's wrong. I think that's a wrong approach to say, oh, we don't have the time, because you do. Superhero movies right now are hot.
And you know what? Maybe, hopefully, best case scenario for DC, and I hope it doesn't happen because I'm a fan of all superhero movies for the most part. But best case for DC, if they're trying to go head to head with Marvel, is they take the time.
Stay clear
D-
of Marvel's
D-
release dates.
DC takes the time, they do it right, and hopefully Marvel has a couple of giant flops because they get too cocky and complacent. Now, I don't want that to happen because I like to watch a little bit of everything, but
I think that competition is the best thing for business because
there isn't a competition right now.
Yeah.
Right now, there's not. You're absolutely right. But I think that competition is amazing for business. It forces, not allows, but forces both companies or every company involved in the game to put out their absolute best
Right,
product.
you gotta pull out all the stops.
And I'm going to use a wrestling analogy. In the mid to late 90s, WCW versus then WWF, arguably the greatest time to be a professional wrestling fan, the two companies, WCW and WWF, were forcing each other. Hey, you know what? You're going to put out those stupid gimmicks and that stupid TV. We're going to trounce you. We're going to put you out of business. And then eventually they were both competing head to head, pulling in bigger ratings than Monday Night Football, or close to it. and it forced both companies to up their game essentially, and that's what I'm hoping that DC and Marvel does, because as much as I've liked the Christopher Nolan Batman and the Man of Steel and all of the Marvel movies, I'm really, really hoping and crossing my fingers for a great Green Lantern, Flash. Even though Flash isn't one of my favorites by no means, I still want to see good superhero movies, just like you said.
Right.
Even though I am more of a Marvel guy by far, I still want to see a good DC film, whether it be Aquaman, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, whatever. So I'm hoping that DC can get their phase 1 done and do it well enough, even if it is rushed and maybe not as strong as it could have been. I'm hoping that it is still successful enough, which it will be. It's having the Justice League name, it's going to be.
But I'm hoping to see it just because.
But I'm hoping that it doesn't turn too many people off.
Right.
And that during their phase 2, whatever it is they decide to do, they're going to be like, all right, guys, we need to take a step back. Let's do this right. Let's take our time. Because you know what? The audience is there, and if anything has proved it, not to go back again to Marvel, but their movies have proved that the closer you stay to the original fan base and the original stories of the comics, the greater the success the movies are going to be. And the Marvel is true about it.
Right, because I mean, you can bring in new fans while you're still pleasing your diehards.
Exactly.
You know, the people that are going to go see the movie no matter what.
Exactly.
As opposed to just the casual, you know, oh hey, a new X-Men or a new so and so. You know, you still want to please your audience. You know, you want to please your diehards, and you want to make money, and you want to bring in as many new people as possible into the comic book universe, whether it's DC, Marvel, Detective Comics, but
no, I understand.
Whoever all the other Dark Horse comics, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Right. You know, as long as you're not a Green Hornet fan.
I mean, and that's the thing, and I honestly hope to kind of begin our wrap up here. I hope that Marvel continues to do very well. I hope DC gets on the train and competes with them, dollar for dollar, box office for box office, and I hope that it leads to other superhero movies. Fingers crossed, Hellboy 3. Huge fan of Hellboy. Yeah. And I know my friend G-Fest Bill is a huge Hellboy fan, and he's been clamoring for a Hellboy 3, and I really hope we get to see one, because I think that those are some of the most fun superhero movies out there. And my favorite superhero movie is V for Vendetta, so I would love to see some of those more quote-unquote obscure superheroes, villains, and stories that we haven't seen in a long time, or ever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I hope that hope DC knocks it out of the park. I hope Marvel continues to do well, and I hope more movies continue to come down the pipe. I mean, look at they announced Blade 4. I don't think anybody ever thought we would see Blade again.
Really?
Yeah, they announced Blade 4, and I believe they even said that Wesley Snipes was going to reprise his role as Blade, which I actually enjoyed all of the Blade movies.
Do you?
I did. I thought they were fun. Don't get me wrong. I think
Triple H was in the third one.
Biased.
Yeah, I mean, look at how many times Ryan Reynolds has been in. Speaking of Green Lantern, he was in Blade 3.
You ruined that.
He was in X-Men Origins.
Ruined that.
He was in Green Lantern.
Ruined that.
And he was in that Deadpool Proof of Concept.
You ruined that.
Yeah.
The ring chose you. Take it. Speak the oath.
Speak the oath, because everybody knows the oath. I pledge allegiance to a lantern that I got from a dying purple alien.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We appreciate you guys watching. Please continue to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dankfist. YouTube search, youtube.com search Dankfist. Thank you, Keegan, for coming on today. I hope you had fun.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Look at the enthusiasm in his voice.
Until next time, guys, take care of yourselves and each other.
Fuck you, Joe.
shadow of death. I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone.